was on it, he was waiting for me. All the punk rockers and the moon stompers were out on the corner sweating, sparing for change. I started thinking, I started drinking. I don't really remember too much of that day. Something struck me funny when we ran out of money. Where do you go now when you're only 15? With the music execution, the talker revolution. Pretending nowhere we go. Give them the boot, the roots, the radical. Give them the boot, I'm a radical. Give them the boot, the roots, the reggae on my stereo. The radio was playing and the decker was singing on the 43 bus. We climb up the hill, nothing ain't going but the reggae drumming, and we all come from unloving homes. I said, why even bother and pick up the bottle, Mr. Bus Driver, please let these people on. Ooh, girl, Carol was a mini skirt girl. My blurry vision saw nothing wrong with the music execution and the talker revolution. Pretending no one would go, give 'em the blue, the roots, the radical, give 'em the blue. I'm a radical, give 'em the blue, the roots, the reggae on my stereo. Yeah, 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 yeah. 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 Took the 6 and bus at a downtown Cabo Bentonado. He was on it, he was waiting for me. All the punk rappers and the mood stoppers were out on the corner sweating, sparing for change. I started thinking, I started drinking. I don't really remember too much of that day. Something struck me funny when we ran out of money. Where you go when you're only 15? With the music execution and the talker revolution. Pretending no one would go. Give 'em the beat, the roots, the radical. Give 'em the beat, I'm a radical. Give 'em the beat, the roots, the reggae on my stereo. Yo, what it does, YouTubes, what it does. Salute to you guys and welcome in. My name is Blizzy Blind. I am your handsome host, and you, my homie, you, my beautiful, good looking, rootinest, tootinest, fruitinest, bootinest homie, are just in time. In time for what, Blizzy? In time for me to sing another song. Sick boy with his faded blue jeans. Sick boy like his leather jacket seems. Sick boy, he's always in trouble with the law, don't you know? Oh well, sick boy carries a switchblade knife. Sick boy likes to get into fights. Sick boy, he'll go drinking with the boys all night long. Oh well, sick boy. Na 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 na, sick boy. Oh well, sick boy. Na 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 na, sick boy. Oh well, sick boy. He rides a big motorbike. Sick boy. He combs his hair up just right. Sick boy. He'll go drinking with the boys all night long. Oh, sick boy, got a girl underneath his arm. Sick boy, with his string like charm. Sick boy, he'll make love to her all night, don't you know? Oh, sick boy, na 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 na, sick boy. Oh, sick boy. Na 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 na, sick boy. All right, now that we got that out of the way, salute to you guys again. Once again, I'm so happy that you are here with me. I missed you. I really missed you, my boy or girl, whichever you happen to be. I missed you a lot. And today's going to be a good one. Today is going to be a good one, man. At least it feels like that because I've been thinking about the topic. This is my third stream on this specific topic. And, in depth. And I have so many ideas and thoughts about this topic that I don't even know what to do with them, to be honest. But it's like this window in my brain opened, and now I see something that's been there all along, but I had seen it before. And it all has to do with attention. If you guys were here, anybody that was here, I did a stream where, excuse me, where we talked about the memification of the world and how the word meme has been way oversimplified and misused. The Richard Dawkins created the word meme to mean just like any idea that can be transferred from one entity to another. Like a meme is anything. But since I watched that video, like this understanding in my head has, and it's crazy because like all of this might be rambling, and if it is, that's fine. If for anybody that doesn't like my rambling, I get it. But to anybody who is interested in ideas, man, that's the only thing that I can offer you is ideas. Like I'm not here to give you anything other than a discussion about ideas. But what's crazy is it's just crazy how life circles back around to itself constantly. If you've ever noticed, like you can have a fear. Let's say you have a fear at like 10 years old and it's an unreasonable fear. And then that fear will come true when you're like 25 after you've been worrying about it for 15 years. And it's like, did I make that happen? Did I make that happen because I've been thinking about it for 15 years? Or was my brain aware that it was going to happen? And that's the reason why I've been thinking about it for 15 years. And if you look, this happens in all these different areas of life, man. It happens everywhere. Like, at least with me, in my experience, like if you would have asked me at 10 years old, like, or not, it's like it's deeper than something that you talk about, though, I gotta say, because a lot of the things that I thought about, a lot of the things that I thought about that were gonna go bad in my life that did, I wouldn't have told anybody if someone would have asked me. But anyways, I say all of that to say, attention, because the science says that the reason that those things happen is because or at least the debated science says that those things happen because you, whether you realize it or not, put attention on certain things. And a lot of times people will think that negative attention isn't attention. A lot of times people will think like, oh, well, I hope I don't get sick. I hope I don't get sick. I hope I don't get sick. Like your brain don't register the negative. Like all your brain registers is the sick part. And then when you get sick, I mean, some people say that you made that happen now because that's what your attention was on. And man, I wish I wish I had went to school to become an academic, like more than anything in the whole world. Like I really truly do. I really really wish that I had went to school to become an academic because there's so many things that I don't know if anybody's like talking about some of this stuff. Like for instance, uh, as far as the attention thing, I wrote a book called The 5D. Some of y'all might remember. Or I mean, it's still actually being written. But I mean, like the premise of it and a lot of the story's pretty much done. But in that book, the way in the book that I wrote, and I don't know how this came to me. Just one day, one day I was writing a completely different book, and then this whole idea just like hit my head, and it just like poured out of me. But in the book, the 5D, there's a whole nother dimension in cyberspace, and it was created attention through attention and intention. And it's kind of mind blowing because I see many parallels between that and kind of reality. Because it's like, and I don't mean exactly, I just mean as far as like attention being the food for something to grow that we had no idea that was going to be there. We had no idea that was there. Like there's a whole world online now. Like whether anybody wants to realize that or not, whether anybody wants to admit it or whether we want to put it in these certain parameters, that's a whole entire world. Like there are moving parts in there. There are entities coming and going. There are entities socializing. There are entities, everything you can think of. Pretty much, pretty much everything that we do in life, aside from the organic stuff, like eating and going to the bathroom and stuff like that, the things that make us organic, all that stuff is happening online 24/7. And it's all because of attention, like one way or the other, when you think about it. And I'm gonna finish here in a minute. I'm gonna finish reading the book that I wrote, and it's just a short book. Uh, I didn't intend on it being a book. I was just making notes, and the notes ended up being so extensive that I said, "Well, I might as well just go ahead and turn it into a little short book." And I in that book, I said that the future is going to have to be more. We're going to have to make a lot of changes based on attention. And I mean, when I say we, I mean the human race, man. We may not be alive. Those of us that are alive today may not be alive when we get to there, but it will come to the point to where, because your attention has been hijacked, you no longer, at least you may in this 1 second, but in 20 seconds, and then 20 seconds after that, and 20 seconds after that, and 20 seconds after that, it's literally so powerful that you don't have the opportunity to say no. And it's crazy because the whole world is shifting to where this is the case. Like every single person that has a commentary on it will say, yeah, everybody just stays in their phone, but even they stay in their phone. Like I don't see any like group of people that's that's immune to it. And the thing is that like I feel like I feel like our human life, like the life that we have lived for the last however many years, and from my experience, I'll only say 150 because that's as far back as I can trace my lineage is 150 years where I know my family was my family. But our attention used to be on our physical bodies, or at least on our physical presence. We used to take care of ourselves differently. We used to treat each other differently. We used to care about one another differently. And that created a certain type of world. Well, now our attention is shifting to the digital space, and attention is finite. Attention isn't just endless. You don't just have like an endless supply of attention. So as we shift our attention towards the digital space, we're literally forfeiting our attention that we would have put somewhere else. So you may not be able to quantify it right now. You may not feel like you are taking, maybe you used to put your feet in Epsom salt at the end of the day, and now you're just so caught up with doing something else that you've already forgotten that routine. Maybe you used to do this, maybe you used to do that, maybe you used to do this. My point is that this digital shit didn't even exist. So there was no attention coming to this space. And now everybody's attention is here. I trip out, dude. I trip out every time I walk in the room. Excuse me. And I see my nieces, my sister, and my mom all looking down at their phone and talking to one another and stuff when they want to, but like completely consumed with whatever they're looking at. And it's like, damn, 3 generations just completely immersed in that. And I mean, I'm not no better. Like, I stay immersed in this shit too. And even the thing is, too, is that like we have this idea that shifting out of one platform is shifting out of the space. I know I'm guilty of that, of being like, you know what? I need a break from YouTube. And I'll take a break from YouTube, but I'll be everywhere else on the goddamn internet. And it's like, dude, you don't realize how much you think that how much you think that the world is online. I mean, because I know a lot of the world is online, but how much of it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know? Like how much of it is online because everybody thinks it's online. I don't know. Ugh. The interesting, crazy questions, right? Honestly, don't know. I honestly don't have any kind of idea. Like, I don't see, I'll say, I don't see it changing at all. Like for anybody. I think the world has almost completely, if not completely, moved online. And now, I remember for the longest time, my sister that passed away, um, she didn't use Facebook. And for the longest time, man, for like 20 years, or not, probably like 10 years or 15 years, because she eventually did get on it. But she would always say, I don't need Facebook. Why would I need to be on Facebook? And then it literally got to the point to where she felt like she had to get on Facebook in order to like keep in contact with people she worked with and stuff like that, I guess. But I always thought like that's the last, her and one of my brothers too. I always thought like that's the last frontier, the last freaking group of people that weren't going to get online, and they did, you know? Like everybody's online now. It's crazy. I don't know. Give me 1 second though, guys. I gotta do something. Okay, I'm back. You know what I want to do? I want to take a look and see what kind of information is on YouTube about attention. All I see is a bunch of songs so far. Dang, there's a ton of songs called Attention. Gee, but all there is songs. I've never even heard any of these people. You see though, like everybody's always talking about losing I see a couple videos, but it's all about the attention span, and that's not the thing. Like I covered that in the book, and I will. There was only a few chapters left. We'll get around to that. I just want to see what anybody else has to say about the subject. All I see is songs, songs, songs. Jeez. How many? Who the hell is Charlie Puth? God damn, he has 35 songs about attention. I have no idea who this person is, though. Training your attention span so good it feels weird to scroll. Why can't we focus? How to biblically fix your attention, proven by neuroscience. An attention span test? Let's see what this is. Okay, y'all play along if y'all want to. I hope you are still locked in, because I am. Dude, it looks crazy now. Oh snap, that feels like making my eyes hurt. Oh shit, it feels like you're falling. Oh wow. Like a giant banana. The hell? Alright, 30 seconds left, guys. Oh shit. Penguins. Or those weren't penguins, those were something else. Dang. Nope, I didn't look away. Oh, hard mode. Did y'all look away? Who looked away and who stayed locked in? Damn, I don't want to play another one because my eyes hurt now. Alright, what else is there? Oh, this is just garbage music, apparently. Ooh, AI talk.
The transformer architecture has been a huge breakthrough in AI. Due to this, large language models have become incredibly powerful. They can generate human-like text, translate languages, summarize articles, answer complex questions, and even write code. Their ability to understand and generate text with high accuracy has revolutionized the way we interact with AI. First, large language models tokenize the text, breaking it down into smaller units called tokens. Then, these tokens are converted into embeddings. If you're unfamiliar with embeddings, I have explained embeddings in detail, and I suggest you to watch the embedding before watching this video. Embeddings transform text.
Oh shit, let's do it. Let's do it.
You might have seen machine learning models that take some text and predict whether it is spam or not. Similarly, a model can analyze a movie review and determine its sentiment, whether it's positive or negative. Let's consider that we are using a neural network to train such models. The first rule of training any machine learning model is converting the input into numbers. Let's take an example of an image. In a grayscale image like the one shown on the screen, the brightest pixel has a value of 1. The darkest pixel has a value of 0, and shades of gray have values between 0 and 1. This numerical representation makes it simple to process images. By converting an image into numerical form based on its pixel values, we can use it as input to train our model. Here, a neural network can learn from the pixel value. However, in this video, we are dealing with text. So let's see how text data is prepared for machine learning models. So we have text, and one simple way to convert it into numbers is by assigning each unique word a unique number. If you've watched my previous video on tokenization, you know that each token is assigned a unique number. Now that we have numerical values and our machine learning model expects numbers, let's try using this approach. We can train our model using token numbers as input. However, this method is only suitable for ordinal features, cases where the numbers imply a ranking like low, medium, and high, where the order carries meaning. For example, let's look at these sentences. This first sentence is a positive sentiment. The second sentence is a negative sentiment, and the third one is a positive sentiment. The key difference between these sentences lies in the words good, bad, and great. If we assign unique token numbers to each word, let's say good is assigned 6, bad is assigned 22, and great is assigned 21. Here, the numbers 21 and 22 are close, which might lead the model to assume that words bad and great are similar, while words good seems entirely different. In reality, good and great have similar meanings, but due to how numbers are assigned, the model may misinterpret their relationships. This misrepresentation can lead to incorrect predictions, making simple token numbers unsuitable as input features for a machine learning model.
Oh wow, that's super interesting. So, but I wonder what the polls are on for average AI model. Like what is it considering quote unquote good, and what is it considering bad? Or is it like it's the extremes? It's the extremes. So the more extreme words are going to have a higher value.
Model. To address this issue, we can use a popular technique called one-hot encoding. In one-hot encoding, each word is represented by a unique vector, where the vector size equals the total vocabulary size. This method eliminates the ranking issue that token numbers have and ensures that all words are treated equally without any implicit numerical relationships. Each word is assigned a unique vector, where only one position contains 1 indicating the word's presence, and all other positions are 0. Now, using the one-hot encoded vectors, we can convert our training data into a numerical format suitable for the model. With this as the input feature, we can train our model. One-hot encoding helps eliminate unintended numeric relationships and is simple to implement. However, it has major drawbacks. It is sparse, meaning if we have a...
Oh man, that shit's... I didn't understand. Like I was super lost.
encoded vectors.
But look,
we can convert our numerical relationship.
All it's doing is moving. If you can see, y'all can see my thing, right? All it's doing is moving the 1 over and the 0. It's replacing it with the 0 where it was before. So it's not even anything like advanced or anything. It's just moving the one over.
Chips. Each word is assigned a unique vector, where only one position contains one indicating the word's presence, and all
Okay, so if a sentence has like 20 words in it, it's gonna have 20 zeros, and the one is just gonna be moved along the zeros.
other positions are zero. Now, using the one-hot encoded vectors, we can convert our training data into a numerical format suitable for the model. With this as the input feature, we can train our model. One-hot encoding helps eliminate unintended numeric relationships and is simple to implement. However, it has major drawbacks. It is sparse, meaning if we have a vocabulary of 50,000 words, each word will be represented by a 50,000 dimensional sparse vector,
See,
which is memory-intensive and computationally expensive. It lacks semantic and contextual meaning as one-hot encoding treats words as completely independent entities. It does not capture relationships between words, such as how good and great are similar in meaning. These limitations make one-hot encoding inefficient for large-scale natural language processing tasks. Another approach is using bag of words. In this method, we simply count the number of times a word appears in a sentence and place that count in its respective word position. Since we are considering only single-word counts, this technique is also called unigram, as each word is treated independently when creating the feature vector. Instead of using just unigram, we can consider two-word contexts or bigrams and count the occurrences of all possible two-word combinations to create a feature vector. This adds more context compared to one-hot encoding or the simple unigram bag of words approach. Similarly, we can extend this to an n-word context called n-gram features, where the model captures context information.
why in the world would they use that? That's so funny. I don't have any idea what they're saying right here with the unigram thing.
From up to n words. However, there are some challenges when using n-grams as features. If the dataset is large, there will be many possible n-gram combinations, leading to a very large and sparse feature vector. The model can only consider a limited number of words at a time. For example, with a trigram, the model captures context only from 3 words around it. N-grams do not capture deeper meanings or relationships between words. This makes them less effective for advanced NLP tasks like language translation and text generation, which heavily rely on understanding word meaning and context. Now let's take a simple example text. Sarah entered the old library, her heart was racing. She knew something was hidden behind the dusty. Let's say we want our model to predict the next token based on this given text. To generate the next token, the model must understand the meaning of each word or semantic understanding, and also the context of the sentence. For example, as humans, we can ask ourselves, where was Sarah going? And we can easily relate the answer to the word library. Similarly, consider the word old in the sentence. Is it referring to Sarah or the library? We understand from the sentence that old is describing the library, not Sarah. Also, the sentence mentions something was hidden behind the dusty thing. We can infer that the hidden object is behind something dusty, which helps us predict what the next word could be. When I say the model should understand semantic meaning, I mean that if we replace some words with similar words, the meaning of the sentence should remain the same and should not change the overall meaning. We can see that words are connected to their context in the sentence. Based on this, we can guess that the most likely next word could be table, wall, or bookshelf, as these objects are commonly found in an old library and could be dusty. So to train a model that can understand semantic and contextual meaning, we need a way.
A dusty wall? And how could something be hidden behind a table? That don't even make no sense.
To encode our training data into feature vectors that capture both aspects. This is where word embeddings and the attention mechanism play a crucial role. In this video, we will explore word embeddings in detail.
Inductile?
Word embedding is a technique.
Did you say inductile?
In this video, we will explore word embeddings in detail.
What?
In this video, we will explore word embeddings in detail. Role. In this video, we will explore word embeddings in detail.
What the heck is you saying?
Video, we will explore word embeddings in detail. Roll. In this video, we will explore word embeddings in detail.
In Dintel?
Word embedding is a technique in natural language processing where words are represented as dense numerical vectors in a continuous vector space. As shown in the example, these three words are represented in a 10-dimensional feature vector, which is dense and not like one-hot encoding, where most values are 0 except for a single one indicating the word's position. The notion of embedding is that two similar vectors correspond to two similar words, and the direction in the vector space carries some meaning. For example, in this two-dimensional representation of words, similar words like king and queen have vectors that are closer to each other than to an unrelated word like cat.
Yeah, for those of y'all that have been around, we covered this in our or I covered this in one of our like very way back a little while ago in the AI talk.
Let's understand this with a simple example, starting from one dimension. Imagine a number line representing the age of a person, and we encode 10 people using a feature vector where their age is the only feature. From this, we can see that people with similar ages are closer to each other. This is just a basic example, and features can be anything that best encode the information. Similarly, if we extend this to two dimensions, let's say the x-axis represents age and the y-axis represents royalty. In this case, the words king and queen are similar and positioned closer to each other, while they are farther from words like man and woman. Now that feature vectors are encoded semantically, we can perform mathematical vector operations on them. For example, subtracting the vector for man from king and then adding the vector for woman results in a vector close to queen. This shows that the difference between king and queen is similar to the difference between man and woman. To demonstrate this, let's assume we have a 5-dimensional embedding where each dimension represents attributes such as gender, wealth, power, weight, and speech. We encode.
What's up, Gatsby? What are you doing? We're learning about vectors and embeddings.
The word king with its feature vector. Similarly, we encode queens, man, woman, and cat. Now when
What are you doing? What are you up to?
we perform the vector addition and subtraction, the resulting vector is closer to queen rather than cat. Let's take another example. If we take the word
I'm chilling like a gremlin or something like that, watching this embedding thing. What are you doing? You TikToking? You getting your Kesha on? That's who sings that TikTok song, right?
Beijing, add Japan, and subtract China. The closest resulting word we get is Tokyo. This works because Beijing is the capital of China. When we add Japan, we introduce attributes related to Japan, and when we subtract China, we remove attributes related to China. The remaining features still represent a capital city, and since China is removed and Japan is added,
that makes complete sense. You see, what's so fascinating about this stuff is that like it makes sense to your brain because this is like it's almost like breaking down the way you think, but like a way more advanced, smarter version of you. I'm about to F a shoddy. I want that's what's up. Thanks for stopping by and saying what's up. Don't be too rough with them, or don't let him be too rough with you.
the resulting vector aligns.
But this makes complete sense, right? Because it's like a capital city of China, and then a country in Asia, and then you minus plus a country in Asia, then you minus a country in Asia, it's still going to leave a capital city in Asia. So it's going to be could have been Mongolia too, or not Mongolia. What's that one place? Y'all know which one I'm talking about. The one where Elon Musk is from. I'm in line buying condoms right now. What's funny is that I won't even end up using them. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Keep that to yourself.
Closely with Tokyo, the capital of Japan. We cannot explicitly define what features.
What Asian country was I thinking of where they make all the Hot Wheels cars? Where do they make all the Hot Wheels cars at? Do y'all remember?
Are contained in the embedding space, as it entirely depends on the
Hey, but you should, bro. If you're gonna be hooking up with random strangers, you should definitely take precautions.
training data. However, from these intuitive examples, we can see that the model captures some semantic understanding of text and represents it in a lower dimensional vector space. Here, lower dimensional means a few hundred or thousand dimensions, unlike one-hot encoding, which would require hundreds of thousands of dimensions. The goal of embedding is to use a dense vector that can store the meaning of words in an n-dimensional space, which we call the embedding space.
Oh, this must be why language models reset after every conversation.
Since embeddings cannot be used directly like one-hot encoding, at the start, the embeddings represent words randomly. However, through training, the model learns to capture semantic meanings, as demonstrated in the previous examples. We cannot visualize embeddings with hundreds of dimensions directly, but with mathematical tools like principal component analysis, we can project them into lower dimensions. What you're seeing now is a trained embedding model, showing an example with the word
Oh,
king and its
wow.
closest related words. Similarly here, all words related to tennis are close to each other.
Man, how cool is that? I wonder how big of a model this is. Like, I wonder what type of model this is. That this is uh illustrating.
Here, all words related to
I bet this is a tiny model. I bet this, because think about it. Think about how many words and relationships are in. I don't know, man. How many words do you think is in the English language? Let's ask. We'll ask Copilot. Copilot's been doing really good lately. How many words are in the English language? English doesn't have a single fixed word count. The best supported range is roughly 250,000 to over 1,000,000 words, depending on how you define word. What the major sources agree on. Oxford English Dictionary, OED, 273,000 head words, 600,000 word forms in the second edition. I mean, look at this though. How many? This is at least like 100. This is like 100,000 words right here. It looks like I would say at least 100,000.
to cat are clustered together. And here for the word 1, which represents a digit, all words related to the digit 1 are close to each other. So now we understand the importance of embeddings and how they represent words along with their semantic meaning. Now, let's understand how such models are trained. One technique to train word embeddings is word-to-vec. This method was introduced by Google to generate efficient estimations of word representations in vector space. As mentioned earlier, there is no inherent notion of similarity between words when they are represented by token numbers. Similarly, considering n-grams results in large vector sizes, especially when training on datasets containing billions of words, making scaling for large datasets inefficient. To address this, we need a technique that provides vector representations where similar words tend to be close to each other and can capture multiple degrees of similarity. The word-to-vec paper demonstrates this with the famous example of king, queen, man, and woman, illustrating how word relationships can be preserved in vector space. According to the word-to-vec paper, two key techniques are used to train word embeddings. Continuous bag of words and skip-gram model. Now, let's understand the continuous bag of words model. For the model, we first need to prepare the training data. Let's take a window size of 3, which means a context size of 1, where the center word is the target word that the model has to predict, and the surrounding words serve as the context words, which become the input to the model. We then slide this window across the entire document to train the model. Let's take a single training example. We can also use a context size of 2 or more, but for simplicity, let's take a context size of 1. For example, if the input words are fox and over, the target word would be jumps. Before feeding data into the model, we need to represent each word using one-hot encoding. This model is a simple neural network. Input layer takes the one-hot encoded vector of the context words as input features. The hidden layer contains neurons equal to the embedding dimension we want to learn. For example, if we want to represent each word as a three-dimensional vector, we take 3 neurons in the hidden layer. In practice, the number of neurons can range in the hundreds or thousands, depending on how the model is trained. Then the output layer contains neurons equal to the size of the vocabulary. Using the 2 context words as input features, the target word acts as the label. We then calculate the error between the predicted and actual target word. Backpropagate the error to adjust the model weights, and then slide the window to train with the next set of context and target words. Now, after training the embedding model, which is a simple neural network, we can use the weight matrix as the embedding matrix. Since we want a 3-dimensional representation for each word, we have an 8x3 embedding matrix, which becomes a lookup table for each word. This means that after training, we can use the embedding matrix to obtain a 3-dimensional vector for each word, where each word has its own fixed representation.
Oh, three-dimensional. So it's not just like the way that it had that queen and king. It's not just the relationship in between that space, but they also have a relationship in the 3rd-dimensional space too.
Trained on only 8 words, the embedding matrix size is 8x3. For our first word, weight values corresponding to its neuron form its feature vector. Similarly, for the word quick, its representation consists of weight values B1, B2, and B3. Like this,
so when y'all hear people talking about weights and vectors when they're referring to AI, this is what they're talking about.
Each word in the vocabulary has its own respective vector representation. Now, to get the embedding value for each word, we first convert the word into its one-hot encoded vector, and then take the dot product of the one-hot encoded vector with the embedding matrix to obtain the word's embedding vector. For the word fox, taking the dot product with the embedding matrix gives us the corresponding embedding vector for that word. Thus, the embedding matrix acts as a lookup table for all words, where each word gets its unique embedding vector. The number of rows in the embedding matrix is equal to the number of unique words or vocabulary size, and the number of columns corresponds to the embedding dimension that we choose to represent words in n-dimensional space. Now that we understand the continuous bag of words model, understanding the skipgram model is simple. In skipgram, instead of predicting the center word as the target, we take the center word as the context and predict the surrounding target words. As you can see, skipgram is the just opposite of continuous bag of words, but both models work well in training word embeddings. We can also train custom embeddings depending on the specific use case we need. In the transformer architecture, there is an embedding layer designed for its specific function. Now, let's understand the embedding used in our text generation model, specifically in the decoder part of the transformer architecture. After converting text into tokens, we use an embedding layer to generate embeddings for each token. For 6 tokens, we get an embedding matrix of size 6 across the embedding dimension. Unlike Word2Vec, the decoder layer does not use a Word2Vec type model. Instead, we use a simple shallow neural network for embedding. The input layer takes the one-hot encoded vector of each word, meaning the number of neurons equals the vocabulary size, and the hidden layer has neurons equal to the embedding dimension we want our model to learn. The weights in this embedding layer are trainable parameters that learn to represent words in an n-dimensional space. Just like in Word2Vec, the weights act as a lookup table for tokens, where each token gets a trained weight value. After converting text into tokens, the embedding layer provides a vector representation for each token. When trained properly, these embeddings can capture the semantic meaning of words. Unlike Word2Vec, where we only train embeddings separately, in the decoder layer, the embedding layer is trained along with the entire model. Since we want our decoder to predict the next token, we use a custom embedding layer that outputs the vector representation of text. This embedding is then passed through the repetitive decoder blocks and finally to the output layer, which predicts the next token. The model then computes the error and performs backpropagation through all layers using the training set.
That's why they're predictive models. That's why all these AI systems are just running on a loop of making predictions constantly. Apparently.
The output layer is another linear layer similar to the embedding layer at the beginning, but instead of having an output size equal to the embedding dimension, it is the opposite. It has neurons equal to the total vocabulary size. This allows the model to assign probabilities to possible next tokens. Looking at this process, we can see that the model first represents tokens in an n-dimensional embedding space, and then uses that representation to predict the next token. This differs from word2vec, where the task was to predict the center word using context words. In large language models, however, the goal is to predict the next word given all previous words, with multiple decoder layers further processing the embeddings before generating the next token. We have almost covered everything about embeddings, but there is one small detail left to discuss. Unlike in RNN, which process each token separately, the transformer architecture processes all words in parallel. Because of this, we need to inform the model about the position of each token essentially, which token comes first and which follows. To achieve this, after embedding, we add a positional vector to the embedding vector, encoding the position information of each token.
So I wonder, does this mean that things that are not true, but the AI believes that they're true or was programmed that they're true, that those things will end up becoming like observed as fact in the future? Because it's like it gives all these values and vectors and all these numbers to words, but what if a word was miscategorized? Like let's say that they're like clustering all of the positive and the negative words, and they accidentally clustered the word amazing into the negative, or like misunderstood it. I wonder if the AI, it seems like it would at this point, that the AI would be able to figure that out and it would even itself out. But if not, if all AIs had been programmed on that misunderstanding, that word would eventually become a negative word, right?
This positional information can either be another trainable layer or a static numerical representation unique to each token. We simply add this positional vector to the embedding vector, resulting in a new representation that contains both word meaning and position information. Importantly, the shape of the embedding matrix does not change. Only its values are slightly adjusted according to the position of each token. Now, this matrix is ready to be fed into the attention mechanism, which is the first layer of the decoder block. As mentioned earlier, the embedding layer helps capture the semantic meaning of words, but it does not provide a contextual understanding of the text. This is where the attention mechanism plays a crucial role. Attention mechanism is the heart of large language models, allowing them to capture relationships between words beyond just their standalone meanings. After passing through the attention mechanism, we obtain a contextual representation of each token, which is different from its initial semantic representation. Up until now, we have prepared the data and applied tokenization to obtain tokens. In this video, we explored the concept of embeddings and positional encoding, understanding how they help represent words and their positions in the transformer model. Now we are finally entering the decoder layer and the most important part of the decoder layer, the attention mechanism. This is a crucial component of large language models, and we will cover it in detail in the next video. If you are enjoying this series, form text into high-dimensional dense vectors, that capture the meaning of each token. For example, the word cat has an embedding vector close to similar words like dog and rat. These embeddings come from an embedding matrix, where the number of rows equals the total vocabulary size, and the number of columns represents the embedding dimensions. As we discussed in the previous video, each token has its own embedding lookup position. So words like apple, orange, and banana are close in embedding space because they are all fruits. The embedding has learned this relationship. However, there's a problem. Embeddings alone do not distinguish between words with multiple meanings. For example, in our text, apple refers to the tech company, not the fruit. But the embedding table assigns a single embedding value for apple, regardless of context. Ideally, we want the embedding of apple to adapt based on its meaning and context. In this case, it should be closer to other tech companies rather than fruits. This is where self-attention comes in. The self-attention mechanism transforms semantic representations into contextual representations, making sure words are understood correctly in their specific context. Self-attention is extremely powerful. It was introduced in the paper Attention is All You Need, where the transformer architecture uses attention mechanisms in both its encoder and decoder. In the architecture, it first tokenizes the text, then get embeddings that capture semantic meaning, and finally, apply self-attention to incorporate contextual meaning. So now you know what the attention mechanism does. Let's understand how it works. In the paper, self-attention is represented by this equation.
You know what's crazy is that it says that this video is 1 year old. Or the other one, yeah, 1 year. But I searched.
Welcome to another video on
and searched for this information, and this information was not available 1 year ago.
Self-attention to incorporate contextual meaning. So now you know what the attention mechanism does. Let's understand how it works. In the paper, self-attention is represented by this equation. Let's write it down on our screen. To understand this, we first need to understand what query, key, and value are, as shown in the equation. To get context information, a single token interacts with other tokens and assigns weights to each of them. Then, based on these weights, it takes a proportionate amount from each token to form a new representation that contains contextual information. So these different values for a single token, query, key, and value each have their own role. Using the same method, all tokens interact with each other, assigning importance to each token. This assigned importance is called the attention weight, which determines how much a token attends to another token. Now let's understand query, key, and value in detail. We start with token embeddings. From these embeddings, we derive 3 new vectors, query, key, and value. These are high-dimensional vectors like embeddings, but have different values and are unique to each other. If we have 3 tokens in a text, each token has its own query, key, and value vector. When a token needs to interact with other tokens to determine the weight assignment, it uses its query vector. For example, if token A wants to determine how much weight to assign to token B, it uses its query vector as if asking, "Hey, do you have anything useful for me?" In response, token B uses its key vector to answer, "Here's what I can offer." We then take the dot product of these 2 vectors,